Hello, 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 yes it is me, zu-wii-mama, and again I am back with a monstrosity of a build. You see what I did there? Monstrosity of a video as well, because this video, as you can see, it is an hour long, so I do apologise, and I've tried to keep it as short and sweet as I can, but as you can see, this build is absolutely huge, so it has taken a little bit longer than what it does for me to normally make a mob video, so I do apologise on the slight delay in the amount of videos that I put out in a week. And a little bit of bad news if you're making this in survival, because I'm not actually listing the amount of blocks, although I will be telling you what blocks are required, only because this video, as you can see, is already long as it is. And not only that, I would have to count every single block, and it does take me a long while, considering that this video has taken me, or I couldn't even put a number on how many hours from start to finish. So yeah, that's the reason behind it, but so I hope you do appreciate that. And yeah, let's crack on to the colours and blocks, shall we? Snow, black concrete, grey wool, we've got grey concrete, cyan terracotta, light grey wool, grey concrete, red concrete, red wool, yellow terracotta, yellow wool, stone, smooth stone, smooth stone slabs, we've got concrete stairs, and also I've missed off concrete slabs as well. Okay, so first things first, do not use blue wool that I'm doing. I'm using the blue wool just as a marking tool to show you the dimensions of this section. So first of all, we're going to go across by 10, and then we're going to go up by 13. And the reason why I'm using blue wool is because my tutorials, if you're new around here, are completely different to other tutorials you do. So I've shown you need to do 10 by 13. That's how long and tall it's going to be. And now what you're going to do is pause the video, copy that pattern down, and then once you've done that, we're going to move on to the next section. Okay, so that's my style of tutorial. Okay, so unfortunately, if you do not like it, that's the remainder of the video. Well, not entirely, but there is good sections that are like that. So from that first panel we've built, I want you to count out 9 blocks, and on that 9th block, again, we're going to go across by 10 and then up by 13. So we're going to copy that exact same panel pretty much that we've done opposite here. So all we're going to do again is we're going to, you can either copy it across, or you can pause the video now and copy that down. And these blue sections that you see, we will be putting another block in there later on. So I'm just purely putting that there just as a visual representation. They should be empty spaces for now, but we will be filling those in shortly. Okay, so they will not be part of the build. Okay, so now from here, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blocks, and on the 10th block we're pretty much going to replicate what we've already done, okay, another 2 times. So we're going to go up by a total of 13 blocks. And again, you do not need to copy what I'm doing here. I'm just purely showing you where the dimensions of this next panel is going to be, where you're going to pause it yet again and then move on to the next section. So just to clarify, that is a 10 across by 13 high section, and again we're going to pause it, and like I said, you don't need to put those blue blocks there. You can leave it completely empty, you can put some dirt there for now, do whatever you want, but just remember we will be putting something else in there shortly. And then from the back, from the side of the building, we're going to count out again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and on the 9th block we're going to be doing another panel. So again, you can literally just copy across what we've already done opposite. Okay, so you can see there you got cyan, you got some stone, so just literally copy it for line, block for block. So you should have 4 sections completely the same, all nicely spaced out. Okay, looking good. If you've got to this point so far, congratulations, you're doing a really good job. We've got loads left to do yet, but nevertheless, it is a cracking start so far. Okay, so going on back to the front of the build, we're going to sort of work our way across each row. So we're starting from this corner here, and you're going to use your stairs and just do as I do on screen. I'm not going to tell you how to place them because you can clearly see on the screen what I'm doing, and I'm going super slow as well, so it's easy for you to follow along. So we're going to go up to the next row, and we're going to work our way across this row, and then make our way up to the next row, okay? I just want to say, if you have some other design in mind for the legs, then go for it. I just thought this would be a nice touch, adding the red cracked redstone coming through the legs, because that's the sort of effect that the redstone monstrosity does have. But nevertheless, if you have like a slightly different idea in your head of how it should look, then go for it. Obviously, this is just my interpretation of what the redstone monstrosity legs look like. But yeah, and not only that as well, the way I'm placing these steps, you don't have to place them like that. If you think they look better placed in a different angle, or you want to add some more red cracks on there, then go for it, okay? It's entirely up to you, so please don't take this as you need to do this and that, because having your little bit of creative input into these builds goes a long way, and you know, you might have some even better ideas than what I do as well. So, but nevertheless, here we go. We are nearly there, actually. We're nearly on the sort of, we've got 2 more rows to go, okay? So that's the stairs done. Once we've done the stairs, we're going to just switch to slabs, and that will just finish off all these empty old gaps that we've got left lying around, all these blue sections that we got. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go across. We're going to miss that one out. And then we're going to go up to the left-hand side, next row, and work our way across this one as well. So this bit is very boring. And the reason why I did like the panels first, then this after, I didn't want to confuse you too much with adding a load of half slabs and slabs in with the whole pause section. So I figured it'd be better to do the pause section, then do the stairs, and then the slabs after, because once the slabs go in a minute, you're going to see that you can hardly tell what's a slab and what's a staircase, because it does get a bit confusing, because as you can see, the stone, it all blends into one another once you start adding them once you start connecting things up. So here we go, like I said, half slab there, and we're going to work our way across the bottom row up to the next row. And again, you can just copy what I'm doing on the screen. I'm going very, very slow, so it's easy to follow. And again, like I said, if you want to add some more slabs in there to give it more of a cracked feel, then go for it. But you'll see what's going to happen in a minute, because in a minute we're going to add redstone behind all of this, which will then set off the whole leg with the red coming through, which again, like I said, it's going to just look amazing once we get the red bit on there. So let's just get these few last slabs. And just to keep this video as short as I can, because like I said, it's a long video as it is, so essentially what we're going to do is this one leg here that we've just done, you're going to copy that and do that for all 4 legs. So all 4 legs are going to be exactly the same. So the best thing you can do here is then go block for block. So knock that one out, and that's a stair slab. A stair, sorry, and then a slab, and then a stair. So you could do that for this one, and then you could rewatch the sort of first part of the video there just to do the other 2 legs. But like I said, all 4 of these legs are going to be exactly the same, so they're all identical to each other, okay? So what we're going to do now is build up the side of these legs. So from the left hand leg, I'm just going to put a bit of blue here so you don't get confused with what section we've already done, and we're going to build in that middle section. And again, we're going to do a lovely little pause. There we go. So again, to save a little bit of time, and yes, I know it's cutting corners a little bit, but it's needed to be done, because like I said, I can't stress it enough, it's an hour-long video, so I had to think of something to try and shorten this video as much as I can to make it a bit easier for everyone to watch. So essentially, we're going to copy that panel on this side, the inside, and the other inside of the leg. So we're going to copy that panel across here, and all you can do is, if you've got really good eyesight, you can just literally copy it across from there to this side, okay? And once you've done this outside part of the leg, we're going to sort of do that on the inside of both of the legs as well, okay? So you're copying exact patterns. As you can see, it is easily doable. It is a bit of a struggle, I must admit. So if you want to go back and re-pause the first section of the video, go for it. If not, and you can do it this way, then it's even better. I find it easier doing like this sometimes. But yeah, you get the idea, right? I'm not gonna patch up all this. I'm just sort of giving you, showing you that it can be done easily enough. I'm just looking across, looking at the blocks, which block I need next. There we go, boom. So we're gonna go all the way up to the top on this one, and then we're gonna now again do the insides of the leg and the other inside of the leg. So there we go. Just gonna auto bang that in, poof, like that. And once you've done these outer ones, the inner ones are easier because they're a lot closer to see what's going on. So again, on the inside, we're going to copy that pattern and we're going to copy it across there. There we go. I don't know how many times I've said copy and pattern in this video already, but yeah. Right, okay, so looking good. There we go. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it all. I'm just showing you just a brief little preview of what you need to do. Again, copy, 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 copy. I feel like a photocopier at the minute. Copy that there, copy that there. There we go. So you should have 2 legs by the time you've done this exactly the same. The only difference is, on the inside of these legs, you want to count down 3 blocks, and on that 3rd block, leave that section blank. So leave them top 3 blocks blank on the inside of this leg, and you can start building from this point down. Okay, so just remember that on both sides, the insides of the leg, 3 blocks down. You do not need to build. You can just copy that downwards. Okay, does that make sense? So from here downwards, as you can see, concrete, and then we've got the wall, and then we've got some more concrete, and then there's cyan terracotta. Okay, top 3 we're leaving blank because we're going to be putting on this sort of waist part, I guess, section, sort of mid-drift area that is going to be going on there shortly. Okay, now spinning on to the left from the front of the build, it's the same old story with the slabs and the stairs. So I'm going to go slowly, row by row, so you can see. I'm not gonna keep saying place this, place that, because you can see what I'm doing on the screen, and I'm going super slow mo. Do you like that? Yeah, going super slow, and we're going to go up to the next row, like that. We're actually doing the slabs at the same time this time, just to save a little bit more time. We're doing slabs and stairs, so just pay attention to what I'm placing here. So we've got a slab there, and here we go up to the next row from the left hand side, stair. And you know, it'd be good to see some of your creative imagination and mixing these up a bit. Don't put the stairs the same as me. Put them at a different angle. Put a slab in a different place as well, because I'm telling you now, you cannot go wrong. If you change a few blocks here, the build is still going to look great, and it'd be nice because it'd be your little bit of input into the build, wouldn't it? It'd be your little bit of creative flair into it. So again, it doesn't really matter. It will look fantastic either way. What you need to do now is do the exact same thing as what we've done on this side, the inside panel, and the outside of the other 2 as well. So copy the exact same panel there, and on the outside. So it might be worth going back and re-pausing that first section, or re-watching that first section to copy them panels down. If not, again, use your creative imagination and just put half slabs and stairs in any order you want, and let's see what it turns out, because I'm telling you, it's going to look amazing. It doesn't matter, it all adds to the effect. There's no right or wrong with these cracks. Okay, that's all I want to say about that. So on the inside of the legs, what you want to do now is fill it up redstone. So you can use redstone like I have, or you can use red wool. They both work absolutely great. Using the smooth stone slab from the front of the build, we're going to go 1, 2, and then on the 3rd block, we're going to do a row all the way across the lip of the top of our leg there, and copy that all the way around, and then just make sure you leave 2 blocks on the end there, just with no blocks on it at all. There we go. And then the same on this side, so skip the first 2 and then fill it all up with slabs all the way around. There we go. And I'm really slow at that. There we go. I keep missing stuff. I keep making errors. There we go. So you should be missing 2 blocks on the end. Okay, so with our cyan terracotta coming 2 blocks in, you want to fill that all in now. That's what we're going to do. So fill it in. So essentially, we're going to be filling it in the same areas in line with the slabs that we've just previously did on the top. But obviously, this is in line with the top of the legs, this cyan terracotta is. There we go. And it should be all nice and flush with the top of the legs. But 2 blocks in, and we're going to do that on this side as well, so it should be all flush across with the top of those blocks there, all the way across. And I just want to say, if you've noticed beneath me there's loads and loads of redstone to fill all the cracks in, you don't need to do that. I was just going a bit crazy because I was just using a few commands just to make things a little bit quicker for me when I was building this. So just do not worry about placing all that redstone, like I said, as long as you've covered the cracks. So using your smooth stone slab, on the 4th block down, on the top section of that, you're just going to do a row all the way connecting the 2 legs up, and you're going to do that twice. So you're going to do another row just here as well, and like I said, it should be in line with this middle section here, and you're going to do the same on the back. Do a nice row all the way across. So there we go, that should be 2 rows now of smooth stone slabs. There we go, looking good. That is another box ticked. So again, on this next section, we're using a blue block. Do not use the blue. I'm just using that as a measuring tool to show you where we're building from. So remember those 2 blocks earlier? We're going to go up by 2 and then bring that all the way across to the other side and then bring it up by 2 there as well. So you should have this funky pattern, and guess what, we're going to do a nice little pause section in between this section. So there we go. I've did a little grid, so don't forget on the left and right hand side there, that's parts of the leg there, so you don't need to worry about that. You just need to worry about all the stuff in between. Okay, and again, yes, you've already guessed it, we're going to do the exact same on the opposite side, so it's probably best now that you just copy across. So there we go, we've got that. We can whack on the cyan terracotta in there, and remember the blue blocks are going to be blank spaces, or we're going to be putting something else in there later, so you can use a dirt or whatever you want to use. Just don't use a stone or something because it'll get mixed up with our build. Okay, so from the left to right, from the bottom upwards, we're going to start putting on our half slabs and stairs yet again. So just pay attention to what I'm doing on the screen, because I'm going to go very, very slowly so you can copy along. Okay, so we're going to do both, like I said, half slabs and stairs at the same time. But remember what I always say, use your creative imagination, that's what I was trying to say, imagination, because you cannot go wrong. I can't stress this enough, you cannot go wrong with adding a few more blocks of cracked of stairs or half slabs, or putting them in a different order. I'm telling you now, it's going to look amazing. It really does not matter, it's all going to add to the effect. Okay, that's all I want to say. I really want to try to get you to use your creative input into this as well, because it's not just me building it, it's you building it too. Okay, and we're on the final row, and if you've not already guessed it already, guess what we're going to do now? Bum bum bum, we are going to copy the exact same amount of slabs and half slabs and stairs, whatever you want to call them, onto this side as well. And to save a little bit of time, I'm going to leave you to doing that, so all you need to do is copy it across onto this side as well. Switching to our grey wool from the top of the build here, we're just going to now whip that all the way across, and then the same on that. So it should too high with grey wool, and it should match that grey wool to that grey wool and to that grey wool to that grey wool. Okay, and that just finishes off that nicely. There we go. And from the inside of the build, again, this mid section we've already done, again, you can replicate the same things what we've already done. Put either redstone or red wool. I'm not going to fill them all in, I'm just going to show you what you need to do. There we go. So fill every single crack in. Once you've done that, we're now going to do a cyan terracotta, and we're going to fill in all this section. Okay, so you can come up 1 block from that half slab there, and it should be in line with the sort of mid section, let's say, and just fill that all in. So when people look up, it's just going to be a nice big blank space. There we go, with a half slab just beneath it on both sides. Look at that. So there we go, looking good. You got your nice set of good looking legs there. Okay, so from the left hand side of the build, just above this grey wool, we're going to come out by 1 block, and then we're going to go up by a total of 6 red wool, and then come towards us by a total of 9 red wool. Okay, so looking like that. And then you want to switch to your red concrete, and then on the inside of this, you just want to follow it all the way up and all the way across, so you should have a nice pattern like that. Switch back to your red wool, again on the inside, all the way up and all the way across. Okay, you don't need to worry about counting on these bits. And then with your cyan terracotta, again, all the way up and all the way across, so you should have a nice pattern. Look at that. And then with your light grey concrete, you're just going to fill in 2 all the way across, and it should all be nicely in line with each other, and you should have something looking like that. Okay, now using cyan terracotta from the top of the build, we're going to do a line all the way across, and then we're going to do that, bring it all the way down the side as well, leaving one block gap at the bottom. Then switching to your smooth stone, we're going to place one like that. So essentially all we're going to do is copy that pattern all the way across. So we're going to bring that stone all the way across, keep bringing it all the way to one block before that grey wall, and then on that grey wall we're going to place a red wall again, and remember it's going to go up by 6 and across by 9, so it's exactly the same as the other side. Then red concrete again on the inside, you're going to whip that all the way around, back to your red wall on the inside, follow that all the way around. I love builds like this, but you don't really need to think too much about what you're doing, because you're just literally copying the same pattern around. Cyan terracotta all the way around, light grey concrete just to fill in these two block high gap like so. Back to your cyan terracotta, and from the top we're going to do it all the way across the top and then bring it all the way to the base, and there you go. Look at that, that's looking cool. It's coming along nicely now, isn't it, the build? So using your cyan terracotta from the top of the build here, you're going to bridge that across, and we're going to do that 3 blocks down, so all the way across by 1, 2, and then this is the final layer, 3 blocks down all the way across like so. Switch into your light grey concrete now. We're just going to literally fill in all these gaps, and I'm just going to speed things up. There we go, so it should be looking like that. Switching to your grey concrete, we're going to come to the left hand side of the build. We're going to come up by 1 block, and then we're going to bring that line all the way across to the other end of the build, so you should have a block gap so far. Now switching to your stone stairs on the underneath of this grey block that we've placed, you can use that all the way across with stairs, and I've just sped things up because it's the same thing repeated all the way across to the other side. So from the right hand side of the top of the build here, we're going to go with our light grey concrete, put 3, then followed by 2 red wool, and then 1, 2, 3 light grey concrete. Then from this block here, we're going to go up by a total, including that base one, by 8 blocks. And then come across by 1, 2, 3, 4. Then come down by 1, 2, 3. Come across again by 1. And then you can drag that all the way down to the base. And then you can just fill all that in with light grey concrete. Switching to our red wall now, so all we're going to do is fill this all in, so you can fill it all the way up to the top of the build, and obviously do not go any further than the side of the build just there, okay? So you can fill that all the way up, and once we've done that, we're just going to do like a little slither of red up the one side. So from here we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks up on the outside, just like that. Okay, so from the left hand side of the build it's slightly different, so we're going to count out from the edge here. We're going to count across by a total of 8 blocks with your light grey concrete. Then from that point we're going to go up by a total of 8 blocks all the way up, and then we're going to bring that all the way across, and remember we're not going any further than the side of the build, and you can match that up to the base there. And what we're going to do now is count across by 3 blocks, and underneath that 3rd block we're going to come down by 1, and we're going to just place some red wool in a nice little square like that, and the rest of it you can fill up with the light grey wool. There we go. I'm just going to speed things up a little bit. There we go, look at that. And if you don't want to use red wool, you can use red concrete, but I'll leave that up to you. Okay, so from the top of the left hand side of the build we're going to come up by a total of 7 red wool. And then across from here we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 red wool. Switching to our red concrete, you're going to place 1, followed by a light grey wool, then a light grey concrete, then back to a red concrete, and then you're going to just switch to red wool and bring that red wool all the way across to the opposite side. Okay, there we go. So it should be looking like that. Okay, so from the right hand side of the build now, from the top of it, we're going to count across 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on that 5th block, I want you to place a red wool, like so. And then to the left of that, we're going to come across by a total of 4 red wool. On the left hand side, slightly different. Underneath the red concrete we've already placed, you can place 1 either side, and then 2 light grey concrete in the centre there. Okay, now, so from the front of the build, we're going to come down to the mid section we've already built. So from this red block here, we're going to count it out. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blocks towards us, and then from this side spin round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks across, and that should be overhanging the build by 1 block, and you can bring that red all the way down to the corner point just there. Okay, and again what we're going to do with the red wool, we're going to bring that all the way across, and we don't need to worry about counting this time because all you're going to be doing is dragging it all the way across and then all the way down to the side of the build, and that should be nicely in line with that grey wool there. And from the inside again you're going to bring that all the way across. So see what I'm doing here, I'm just bringing those colours all the way across from the front and whipping them all the way round to the back as well. And same with the top, so you should have the front and the back looking exactly the same. That's what we're going for here. We're going the front and the back looking exactly the same, so we can count that out if you want. If not, you can just keep looking across to the other side. As long as it overhangs the back of the build by 1, that's absolutely fine. Bring that all the way across and in line with that red that we've already built on the other side. So you really can't go wrong with this part of the build, to be honest with you. All you're doing is literally from bringing that colour all the way across from either side. Okay, so the same with the light grey concrete, you're bringing that all the way across, the cyan terracotta all the way across as well, and like I said, you cannot go wrong with this part of the build. All I want you to do is with your cyan terracotta, I don't want you to bring it all the way down, you can just bring it to the top of the build there, because this middle bit is slightly different to the middle bit on the front of the build. So with your cyan terracotta, you can bring that actually up to the top there. But once we've done that, we're going to use our light grey concrete, and from here we're going to go 1, 2, and then bring that all the way up 2 blocks high all the way to the top of the build, and then you're going to bring it across by 4 blocks in total. So you should be looking like that, and you can do the same on this side. So row of 2 all the way up with your light grey concrete, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top looking like that. Okay, and now you can actually bridge that all the way across, and you're going to do that 1, 2 times like so. So for this middle section, you're thinking, why is there a big hole there? So on the inside, I want you to use your grey concrete, and we're going to do like a ring all the way around on the inside of the build. Okay, so all the way across the top, middle, so you've got like a big rectangle on the inside of the build. So now what we're going to do on the outside is we're going to place a load of half slabs and stone stairs. So you're going to alternate, so 1 up, 1 down, 1 up, 1 down, 1 up, 1 down. So you got that. So essentially you got 6 stairs on that side, and again this side you're going to do 1 stairs down and then up, down, up. You get it. So you're alternating between the two. Okay, so once you've done that, you should have a weird looking pattern like this. Switch into your slabs, you're going to just bridge that across along the bottom and bridge it across the top. And then all you're going to do now is switch to your stone, and in the center of these builds it should be 3 across, and then just fill it in with stone all the way down till the bottom until you cannot go anymore, and that gives us that lovely little square pattern that's actually on the redstone monstrosity itself. Okay, so from the left hand side of the build here, we're going to leave a block gap, and then we're going to come up by a total of 5 with your cyan terracotta there. And then what we're going to do is bring that cyan all the way across to the edge of the build, so no further than the edge there. Now using our grey concrete, you can bring that all the way across, and it should match up with the other grey concrete on the other side. And now switching back to your stairs, you can now bring those stairs all the way round the side of the build and all the way round the back of the build, and that should just stop nicely just underneath that cyan there. Switching to your red wool, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 like so. 1, 2, 3, 4 again. And now we're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2 all the way to the edge of the build. Like so, but this time we're going to go around the corner a little bit, and we're just going to do another 2 just on the side there as well. On top of this, we can get our cyan terracotta and again come all the way across and then 1 up like that. And then light grey concrete, you can follow that across, and don't forget that 1 on the edge there as well. Okay, so you should have something looking like that. It's coming along very nicely so far. Switching to the right hand side, we're practically going to do the exact same thing. So there should be a 1 block gap there underneath, up by 5 terracotta, the cyan terracotta that is. Bring that all the way across, and then stop at the end with your grey concrete. Bring that all the way to the back, and that should be at the front now. And then with our stairs underneath all the way across from the front of the build all the way around to the back of the build, as you can see, and it should stop nicely just there. Switching to our red wool, if you remember, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 there, and then all the way across, and then bring it 1 to the side of the build, and you can bring that up by 1 as well, because that's going to be a 2 block high all the way around, but then 4 on the left hand side, just like that. Okay, switching back to your cyan terracotta again, you can do a line of that, and then 1 on the end, boop. And then switching back to our light grey concrete, again, you can just fill that in nicely. So you should have 2 sides looking exactly the same as each other. Okay, so we're still at the back of the build. So what we're going to do now is bridge this gap all the way across. Remember that blue wool is just a visual representation because you're not putting that there. You're going to be putting this lovely little pore section on here right away. And there we go. And those gaps, yes, it's representing where we're going to be putting slabs and stairs very shortly. And there we go, look at that. So we can knock these out now, and we're going to start from the bottom and work our way up. So half slab there, half slab there. We're going to take that one out there. We're going to put a stair on the side, and then making our way up to the left hand side, we're going to do a stone slab, followed by a stair that way. Oh, that way, okay. And then following it across, we're going to knock that one out. We're going to now place a stair that way, knock this one out. And we're going to go with a half slab this time up there, another stairs on the side, and then knock this one out as well. We're going to stone slab, then another stairs like that. There we go, cool. And then last one is going to be a slab. There we go, look at that. Woohoo! So from the inside, again, you know the story by now. We're just going to fill all these gaps in with redstone, and I'm going to speed things up just to save a little bit of time on the video. There we go. Look at that. It's a lovely effect on that. Switching to our grey concrete now, we can now fill a line of grey concrete all the way across, but overhang the section we've just built by 1 block. So bring that all the way across, look, and overhang it by 1 block. There we go. Okay, with our light grey concrete, remember this side block there as well. We're going to bring that all the way across to the edge, and then we're going to come up by 1, 2, 3 blocks on that one side. On this side it's slightly different. We're just going to do the light grey concrete all the way across, and don't forget that side block there as well, and you should have something looking like that. Now switching to your red wool, essentially all we're going to do is bring that red wool all the way across from the corner of the front of our build, and it's going to match up to the corner of the bottom of the build there that we've built up to. Okay, so there you go, and then you can do that for the side. You can bring that all the way up as well, and it's pretty much the same story for the opposite side. We're going to bring that red wool all the way across the side of the build, and it can match up with that corner there like so. And then the inside here, remember that 1 block we built up earlier, that's going to bring all the way up with red wool as well. So from the side it should be 2 thick, and from the back it should be 1 like that. Okay, so we're still on the back of the build so far, and on top of that light grey concrete we placed earlier, you're going to bring your red wool all the way across, and then from the side of the build you can actually connect that up as well. And we're going to do the same from this corner, bring the red all the way up, and then from that corner match it all the way up to that side as well. Okay, and then this we can actually now just fill in on the right hand side one, fill it all in with red wool. So just remember, this is the back of the build, and that's the right hand side. On the left hand side you can go to the top of the build, and you can fill in a row all the way across. Come into the left hand side of the build, you can do a row all the way up to the side. And now what we want to do is, you should, from this corner here, you can place a red concrete, and we're going to go across by 4, and we're going to bring it down by a total of 4 as well. And we're going to make a red cube, essentially a 4x4 red cube with 4 light grey concrete on the inside. You should have something looking like that, and then the rest can all be filled in with red wool to top it off. There we go, looking nice. From the top left hand side of the build, you're going to get your red concrete and place 1 there, 1 there, and then you're going to go 1, 2 like that, and then another 2 back towards us again, and then followed by 4 light grey wool. And then underneath that you're going to place light grey concrete, and then cyan terracotta underneath like that. And then using your red wool you can bring it all the way across from where the terracotta is, all the way across, and then the top row like that, so it should all be nicely bridged across to each other. So if you go to the inside of the build here, where we've already built this up on the front section of the build, you're going to place 2 light grey wool, and then followed by a square of red concrete. And then to the right hand side of the build, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks across, and on that 4th block on the inside you're going to do a nice square again with red concrete like that, and then on the inside a light grey wool. So that's the top section where the shoulders are of the Redstone Monstrosity, and then essentially all you're going to do now is the whole top section is going to be filled in with red wool. Okay, I've sped things up a little bit because you don't want to be watching me placing all these red wool, especially when I'm making all these silly mistakes. I know it's been looking a little bit confusing so far, but just bear with me. We're nearly done. This is such a long build, and I do appreciate how long it's taken you, because it's taken me a long time as well. So that's the top of the build looking from the back. Okay, so from the bottom right hand side of the build here, what we're going to do is I'm just marking this out for you. Okay, so you're going to come out by 1 block, and then you're going to come towards us by 7 blocks, and then come up to the top of the build, and next to this red wall that we placed there earlier, you can bring that out by a total of 7, so that should match the bottom of the build there. And then you're going to come across by a total of 13 blocks, and once you've done that, it should match up with the inside of that red block that we placed there earlier, the red concrete. Look, there we go. So it should be 13, and you can bring that all the way down, and that comes down by a total of 14 blocks. So all in all, this comes out by a total of 7, and it's 14 down and 13 across, and it should be dead center of your build, just to clarify that. Okay, and I just want to also say the pink blocks, do not worry, because we're not using those pink blocks. They're there just purely to show you that something else would be going there. And as you know, earlier on I was actually using blue wool to represent blocks that I weren't placing anything there, like air blocks, but because this build took me so long to make, over several days, I forgot what color I was using, so I just started using pink. So again, I just want to say, do not use any pink blocks in the build. That's just there just to fill the gaps for now. So that is the front, the side, and the top of the build that we're going to go to now. So from the front looking down, there you go, another lovely little pause section. This bit is so much easier than the previous bits we've already done. It's all sort of downhill now. We've done some of the finicky bits, and then going spinning down underneath of the build, looking up to his upper chin. There we go. He hasn't got a double chin, this guy, I'm afraid. He's only got a single chin. He's not put on it. Well, he is quite a big boy, isn't he? But he's not that weighty. Okay, so now from the front of the build, we're going to spin on all the way around to the back of the build. Using your light grey concrete, we're going to go from the corner here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. It should be overhanging by 4 blocks. And you're going to bring that all the way across, and from the other side. And then you're also going to bring that all the way up to the inside of this here, and then there you go. So we're making a big rectangle, which is 14 blocks out in total. So you can pretty much fill that all up with light grey concrete like that. There we go, looking good. Looking good. And there we go. And you can do the sides as well. And from the top, we're going to like sort of just rectify that slightly, because I did tell you to fill it all in, but that was the easiest way to show you this part. So we're just going to knock a few blocks out on the top here, the top layer, and we're going to actually put a layer of light grey wool instead, and we're going to fill this top section all up with light grey wool as well. And essentially what we're going to do is just do like a little bit of almost shading, I guess, a little bit of texture. So you can just put a few lines here and there. Again, you don't need to copy too much what I'm doing. I'm just literally just doing a few random lines here and there. So I'm not really, yeah, like I said, it all adds to the effect. So I want you to use your creativity here. Just do a few lines dotted here and there, just to give that impression that there's light sort of beaming down from the top of this build. It gives it a little bit more depth and a little bit more character. Okay, so again, do not place the blocks wherever you want. Okay, just, yeah, use your imagination. From the inside of this, we're going to use cyan terracotta, and you're just going to fill all that up. There you go. So 2 rows of cyan terracotta, and then we're going to go skip 2 blocks and then fill it up with cyan terracotta, and then these 2 corner sections we can then put some light grey wool, just to give it a little bit of shading underneath there essentially. Spinning on back around to the front of the build. Okay, now spinning on to the right hand side of the build, we're going to now fill in the horns. So from this block here, we're going to bring it out by a total of 7 blocks, and it should match the inside of the build just like so. From this corner now, we're going to bring it up by a total of 8 blocks, so it should be a 7 cross by 8 high. And again, we're going to do a lovely little pause section just for you. Look at that. Take your time with this. Don't you need to rush. Okay, that's the front of the build. Spin on round to the right hand side. Again, you can pause it here. Okay, now once you've done that, going back from the front, we're going to now spin underneath and give you like a look from underneath of it. Okay, looking good. And then spinning on round, and we're going to go from across the top of the head there, looking down. That's the top of that section and the vertical part of that section. There we go, looking good. And then finally, the last little piece of the puzzle is that top section there. And all really you should be doing here at this point is just filling in a little bit of grey wool there, because you've already filled the rest, the other 3 panels, should I say, with the other pause sections. Pretty much the same on this side, guys. To the left hand side of the build this time. Remember, we're going to bring that out by a total of 7 blocks, and that should match nicely with that corner there. And we're going to go up by a total of 8 blocks, so it should be overhanging the top of the build, as you can see, by 1 block essentially. And from the front, remember, we're going to do like pause section. Looking good. Spinning on around to the left hand side. Again, we can pause it here. Brilliant. And then spinning on around to the front of the build again, looking up from the base this time, looking up. Okay, looking good. And then what we're going to do now is spin onto the top of the head, looking down, and we're going to do that vertical part as well as that horizontal part as well. So it should be going up by a total of 4 from this point, and we're just going to fill in the top there, looking good. And then again, looking down from that small little section, you should just be filling in a few bits of light grey wool, and that is your lot done. There we go, looking good, guys. This is great work. All we got to do is whack on this boy's arms and we're all done. Okay, so from the side of the build, just where the grey concrete is here, 1 block in, we're going to count 13 blocks towards us with our stone slab. So 13 blocks in total. Then on top of that first slab that we placed earlier, we're going to go up by a total of 15 light grey concrete. And then the top 3 blocks are going to be light grey wool. Okay, so 15 should come in line with the top of the build there, followed by 3 light grey wool. From here, we're going to bring it out by 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 red wool. And then you're going to come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blocks down with the red wool. And then from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks across. Then you can use your light grey wool, and then we're going to go 1 there, and then we're going to go 1, 2, 3 down, light grey concrete, and just bring that all the way down, and it should match up with the stone slabs that we previously built earlier on. And you can now bring that light grey concrete all the way across the stone slabs there, all the way to the end. You should have a pattern looking like that. Okay, from where this red wool meets, you want to come underneath here and go 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks down, and then you can match that in with the side like that, and then you can fill that in with red wool like so. Okay, now what we're going to do is count 3 from this red wool here, 1, 2, 3, and then come down by 1, 2, and then you can bring that down by 2 all the way across to the end like so. And then what you want to do now is to the base of the build, go 1, 2, 3 blocks up, and then come across. You're going to leave a block gap. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to do like a little square 2 by 2 with red. From the left hand side, we're going to go 1, 2, 3 from the base, and then go up by 1, leave a 1 block gap, and then go 1, 2, 3, and then go up by 3 across. So it's like a little square again with a red concrete in the center. So with your light grey concrete, what you're going to do now from the corner here, we're going to go from here and bring that all the way across. Okay, and then from here you're going to bring it all the way down until you get to that red square we built earlier, and then you're going to bridge across the top of that red square. So you should have a big rectangle. So if you remember what we did earlier, we're going to do exactly the same. So we're going to do one stair upside down, and then one stair like it should be normally, and then one upside down. So we're gonna alternate between up and then upside down, essentially. There we go. And then the last one like that, and do the same on the opposite side. So one stair like that, one upside down, and then alternate again. So one normal, one upside down, one normal, and then one upside down. And then what you're going to do now is switch to your half slab, and then you're going to place 1 2 across the base, and then 1 2 across the top there. And then the center section, all you're going to do now is fill it up with stone. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 stone in the center, and that gives us that nice square pattern. Remember, that's the detail on the Redstone Monstrosity. I don't know if any of you have actually noticed that. And then spin on round to the inside of the build, and you can put a layer of grey concrete, and that will give us that nice effect when you spin on back round to the front of a line or a sort of square pattern that you can actually see on the Redstone Monstrosity. Like I said, I don't know if any of you have actually noticed that. Okay, now all we need to do now is essentially all the rest of the gaps of the rest of this panel we're going to fill in with light grey concrete. There we go. I just sped things up just because it's a little bit boring. You should have something like that. Okay, so from the right hand side of the build, we're going to use our smooth stone slabs, and from this section here we're going to go 8 in total, that is, bring it across, and we're going to do that a layer of 2. And then that, if you bring that all the way back towards the main section of the body, that should line up nicely with the back just there. And what you're going to do is copy this big pattern, that big panel we've just done, here as well. So you're going to copy that exact same thing across to this side. And I just want to say it might be worth knocking these grey blocks out for the time being, so then you can copy those panels, those stairs and those half slabs across onto this side. Once you're done, then you can put the grey blocks back in, which we'll do now. Actually, we'll just fill it in, just to remember you need to do it because it needs to add to the details. So do that on both sides, and then you should have, like I said, 2 exact sides, exactly the same front and back. Okay, again, so remember, ignore my blue block that I'm using. I'm just purely showing you where we're going to build in. So across this section here, the side of the arm, we're going to do a nice big pour section just about here. Beautiful. And then spinning on round to the top, looking down of that same section. Then spinning on to the upright, that's other section that's just above it. And then what we're going to do is spin onto the top, the very, very top of the arm there. Looking good if you got to this point, well done. And then what you're going to do is spin onto the inside, so the head's just behind us to the right there, and that's the inside sort of part of the arm. Look at that, that's looking beautiful. So well done, because that's the first sort of section of the arm complete. Now what we're going to do is spin on round and fill in these little blue sections we got here. So I've already put the redstone behind, as you can see, but we're going to put a stair there, a stair there, and if you haven't, obviously just make sure you do put a bit of redstone behind, or a bit of red wool or red concrete. It's entirely up to you, but I think redstone just makes it pop a little bit more. There we go, look at that. And there we go, looking good. So what I want you to do now is switching back to your smooth stone slab, the inside of the build here, I want you to just bridge that across by 2 wide. Okay, looking like that. So you should have underneath a nice big square, essentially. And from this point, we're going to use our light grey concrete, and we're going to bring it down by 4 blocks, 3 across, and bring it down by 4. Then we're going to now switch to our red wool, and we're going to bring that down by 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and then same on that side, and then same through the center. So it should be 8 blocks in total. And then what you want to do is the final 3 blocks that you can see there is just going to be light grey wool, and there it's going to come down by 4 blocks in total. So you should have something looking like that. Then switching to our grey concrete, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then the same on the other side, 1, 2, 3. Okay, looking good. And then what you want to do is switch to our stone stairs, and we're going to do the upside down stairs again, 3 and 3 like that. Back to your light grey concrete, and we're going to do 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So you should be having 6 blocks across there. And again, spinning on around to the other side, you want to do another 6 blocks of light grey concrete just there as well. Okay, so back to our smooth stone slabs. What I want you to do is from the base of this build here now, on that last block, I want you to do a row all the way around, and then all around the side, all the way around the back, and all the way around the inside of this arm. Okay, so there you go, really simple this bit. There we go, looking like that. Very good. Then underneath that stone slab, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 light grey concrete underneath every single slab that you've just placed. And just to speed things up, I'm just going to show you briefly. It should look like that. And from the side of the build now, just chuck in a redstone cube anywhere. It doesn't matter where, just bang one in there. It just breaks it up a little bit. If you want to put a bit more detail in there, then go for it. Right, from the front of the build, I want you to count 3 blocks across, and what we're going to do is we're going to do the fingers. So I want you to, on the inside, a 3 by 2 rectangle, and it's going to come down by a total of 3 blocks. So it's a 3 by 3 by 2 rectangle. Then from that one, I want you to have a 2 block gap, and we're going to do the same again, a 2 by 3 by 3 2 by 3 by 3 rectangle, like so. So you should have 2 that are sort of adjacent to each other, and then opposite that, on the other side, we're just going to do a 2 by 3, which should be dead center rectangle again, just like we've previously done on the other 2. Okay, and then once you've done that, all I want you to do now is literally, and it should look similar like that, so it's 3 of them, should have 2 on the inside and then 1 on the outside. And then all I want you to do is get cyan terracotta on the underside of the hand here and just fill all that in. I'm just speeding things up, and you should have summer looking like that. So you should have 3 fingers and cyan terracotta all underneath. And while we're on the cyan terracotta, I just forgot to mention that underneath the body part, the sort of just above the waist there, I need you to fill in this whole section with cyan terracotta. And also on the opposite side, there's a big gaping hole here. All that can be filled underneath with cyan terracotta all the way across. So then when people look upwards, it's not going to be a big hole, it's actually going to be shaded in. Okay, so make sure you do that on both sides of the underneath of the body there. Okay, so from the left hand side of the build this time, we're going to go 1 block in, and from here we're going to go 1, 2, 3 light grey wool, and then underneath that we're going to use light grey concrete and bring that all the way down until you get to the base of the build. There we go, like that, just above the grey concrete there. So drag that across by 13 blocks in total. Okay, once you've done that, on top of that, we're going to go red wool. We're going to place 1, 2. Then on top of that, we're going to place 7 light grey concrete. Then from this point, you're going to have 7 in total, including that first one, 7 in total light grey concrete across. Okay, so from this block upwards, we're going to do a total, that is including that base one, 7 high. Then we're going to go with a light grey wool, 1, and then a redstone block on top. Back to your light grey wool, 1, 2, and then 1, 2 red concrete, and then to finish it off, it should be 1 light grey wool like that. Okay, so from the left hand side of the build there, where this wool is, we're going to come out by 4 blocks, and on that 4th block, we're going to place a red wool. Then we're going to go diagonally and place a little red box, essentially, a little red square, which is 3 by 3, and in the center you're going to place a red concrete, and then underneath, well, to the side, sorry, place a red wool there and 1 on top, looking like that. Okay, so now what you need to do is just spin on round to the back here. We're just going to put a redstone block just in there for the detail shortly, but that's behind obviously the build. And then you can put a stone slab like that. That's not a slab, it's a stair, sorry. And then to the left hand side, in the center of that square, let's say, behind it, we're going to now put another another stair should I say. I've been recording for too long, I'm going crazy. Another stair there with a redstone cube behind it. Again, it doesn't have to be completely exact. If you want to change it up a little bit, go for it. From the top left part of the build, you're going to place a couple of wool there, 2 concrete and another wool. And then what you want to do from underneath this concrete, we're going to count down. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want to go down 5 blocks in total, and on that 5th block, remember that square pattern we did on the opposite side? Well, essentially we're doing that again. So I want you to do a nice rectangle, which is 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And remember, this is just like the one that we've done on the opposite arm, so this should be 1 block in from the outside of the build. And then what you want to do now is just literally get our grey concrete, and we're going to fill in all these gaps with the grey concrete. Okay, so I'm just going to speed things up a little bit as well, because I don't want to bore you with me filling in a load of grey concrete. But anyway, and you should see in a minute, you should see this rectangle sat 1 block back from the front of the build. Now what you want to do is what we've done before, is do our stairs opposite again. Remember, so 1 up, 1 down, 1 up, 1 down, like so. And then again we're going to do that on the opposite side as well, so 1 normal, 1 upside down, and then go 1 up, 1 down, 1 up, 1 down. There we go, looking like that. And yes, you've probably already guessed it, we're going to use our half slab around the center and the top of the build, and then fill the center in with a concrete block. So there we go, quickly do that. There we go, the half slab's there, and then center can now be filled in with concrete blocks, looking like that. And there we go, that is the first part of our arm done. Well done. Now congratulations, all we need to do now is spin around to the back, and we're going to start building from this block here. And all you're going to do is look across, and we're going to build the exact same arm onto this side again. Okay, so we're going to repeat the exact same process. So you can look across, copy that pattern down, and once you've done that, you should have 2 sides looking exactly the same. And here we go, we're just going to go to the top of the back one here and just change a few things up. So we're just going to put a bit of wool in there, remove that and place it there instead. And we're going to actually take out this red square, fill that in with wool. Okay, and then we're just going to actually move that red square down here, just so it just looks slightly different than the other one. I mean, you don't have to do this, but I just like to. But I'll leave that choice entirely up to you. There we go, looking good. Right, now, so what we're going to do is this side section. So it's the pause section. From that red line down, we're going to do our infamous pause section. Looking good. And then what you're going to do now is spin up, and we're going to look down onto that first section we've just done. And then spinning on, looking up onto the side there, and we're going to capture that bit there. Excellent, excellent. Right, now, and spinning onto the top section of the arm. And then all we're going to do is from the front side, we're just going to come around and do this last little panel, and there should only be a few blocks here you need to actually fill in, which is the center parts there. And then that's it, that's our second part of our top of our arm done. Now we just got to do the little finishing touches, and we are nearly there. So spinning on around to the left, we're just going to put in our wooden stairs, and our half slabs. So we're going to place one there like that. We're going to put a half slab just there, up on there. And then going up to the top, we're going to now put another half slab there. Remove that one, half slab, and then we'll finish off with a set of stairs right there, like that. There we go. Looking good. Okay, now on back to the front of the build. So from underneath here, the arms, we're going to do our half slabs. So we're going to do 2 rows on the left hand side to start off with, do a single row all the way across to the end here, and then this end again we're going to do a double row of half slabs, and then a single row all the way to the other end. Okay, looking at that, so you should have 2 sets of 2 on the outsides, and then 2 single rows on the front and the back. Now we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 down with our grey concrete 3 times, that is, and then a row of red wool coming down by 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 if you remember, and then redstone concrete down like that. Why did I say redstone concrete? It's red concrete. And then with a wall, copy the exact same thing, and then come down with light grey concrete again, and that's going to come down by 4. 1 2 3 4 all the way across. Oh, missed a bit. 1 2 3 4. I obviously can't count. Okay, look at that. And then we're going to switch to our grey concrete, put a row across there and a row across there. Okay, now switching to our stairs again, upside down stairs along the bottom of that. Then we're going to switch to our light grey concrete again and go 1 2 3 like that, and then underneath 1 2 3, and it should be in line with the bottom of the red part there. Look at that, looking good. Okay, so finishing touches now, we're going to copy that pattern all the way around onto the other side. So the back of the build, we're going to replicate the exact same thing. Okay, so you don't need me to show you what's going on here. I'll just speed things up just so we can get this video complete. Okay, look at that. So we've got our stairs and our grey. There we go. And you've got two sides looking exactly the same. And then from the side and on the inside of the arm, we're just going to replicate that same pattern across like we did on the previous one. So we've got our grey there, we've got our stairs running adjacent to that, and then we'll fill in all this with our grey concrete, and then the same on the opposite side, just like that. And there we go, get rid of that. There we go, looking good. Okay, now so from the top of this section here, we're going to now use our half slabs, and remember we're going to go all the way around all sides of the arm, and you can whip that all the way around. Oh, there we go, looking like that. And then underneath this, we're going to count down 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, so it should come down by 8. And again, underneath every single slab, you're going to replicate the exact same thing. Should have something looking like this. Then from the inside of the build, we're going to come across by 3 blocks, and then we're going to do a row of 2, comes down by 3. Okay, so it's a 2 by 3 rectangle. Okay, so there we go, comes down by 3, 2 wide, and it's 3. So 3 by 3 by 2. Okay, do the same here. So come across by 3 blocks, and then you want to do it in line with the other one. 1 2, and then come down by 3. 1 2 3, and then come across by 3 as well. So that's our 2 fingers. And then the other one, we're going to spin on round, and it's going to be dead center of the other 2. So you can just, again, from underneath the lip there, and bring it out 1, and then 3 by 3 by 2. There we go. And then once you've done that, we're going to fill the space above with cyan terracotta, which then closes that big old gaping hole that's there. And guess what? We have finally completed our Redstone Monstrosity. I hope you have enjoyed that. And yeah, that took some effort on my behalf, but hey, enjoy that. And I've been zu-wii-mama, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.